Yeah, I think like the sneaky thing that I got out of farming is purpose, and like that shared purpose that you have with the people who are doing this work that is so hard to find. You don't find that in like an advertising job in the same way, or in other jobs. You don't have this, no one would farm for profit. No one would farm if they didn't love it. It's really hard.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Amber Waves Farmcast. We are sitting here with Amelia, our farm manager. And Amelia, we're in hiring season here at the farm. And so we're gonna dig into what that means for us and who wants to be a farmer and who even is farming these days. But first of all, Katie, where even are we?
Yeah, we're here sitting in our greenhouse. We're on the eastern end of Long Island. Amber Waves Farm is a 35-acre mixed vegetable, fruit, vegetable, grains, herbs, flowers. So Amelia, you are the conductor of the farm. And right now you are hiring folks. And so what are you hearing from applicants? These are folks who want to learn to be farmers. What's your pulse on it? What are the young kids doing? This is like a young group. They're interested in agriculture, which is really exciting. What are they saying? What are you learning?
This is the first time I've been so in the driver's seat of the hiring process, and it's really exciting to see it all come together and the group kind of start to materialize. So we have a couple apprenticeship spots. We have field crew spots for next summer.
What's the difference between the two?
The apprenticeship is a 9-month teaching program that you're getting a combination of in-field learning, paid classroom time, access.
And paid field, all the time is paid.
Yeah, all the time is paid. But
it's a job, but you're learning on the job.
And you're learning on the job. And then the field crew is more...
You're hopefully not Googling office jobs near me.
Yeah. The reverse would be really...
No, you're not doing that.
Sometimes it happens. You're like, oops, what did I do here?
In August, you're like, how do I work inside?
Yeah,
I'm just wondering if
air conditioning near me, air-conditioned jobs near me, jobs that aren't of daylight hours, jobs that don't start at 7.
Yeah.
Jobs where there's no bending.
Yeah. I don't want to squat anymore, ever.
Jobs where no one says the word cucurbit.
Yeah, exactly, or walks. That's not a thing that happens, really. Maybe just like 2 weeks in August, and then you get over it. So we have field crew, we have apprenticeship,
And field crew is short-term, seasonal work.
Yes.
If you're,
college student, you're out
on
here.
a break from whatever you're doing in life.
Or a teacher, a person who has their summer available.
And the field crew are the backbone of our summer heavy hitters. Some of the heaviest, best farmers we've had come through here: Nicole Schulle, Maya Judge, Maria. Those people, they came here in the summer. They were slogging it out, picking tomatoes every day. Amazing farmers. If you can come here for 3 months and harvest tomatoes every day and then be like, I'm going to do that again next summer.
Yeah.
You are in the pantheon.
Think of like Maisie and Katie Smilo and Hannah that we call Hanini, like the early years.
Yes.
The earlier. Tatum, were you here that day when Tatum came back?
I don't think so.
In the middle of one of our former summertime person came back, like on the wheat harvest day, where we were like teaching the combine. Tatum was like, "I'll stay for this."
Oh, okay. Hello.
We hadn't seen her in 5 years. She came. Anyway, it's amazing.
Yeah. But I think that's an important thing to remember, that if you're thinking about, I have a little farming itch I want to scratch, but I'm not in a position to go all in for 9 months. There are opportunities to do shorter term, get exposure, but you're really diving in hard and fast. Like there's not a runway to it. You're stepping in, you're joining the crew, you're part of the team, and it's long, hard work days. But it's good exposure.
Yeah,
you
it's
don't
great.
have a ton of
you kind of come during the most like fruitful part of the season. There's, you get to see it when it's fully at its peak, and that's really exciting. Okay, so apprenticeship, field crew. We have wash pack manager.
Important,
integral member of the farm team.
The bridge between
and the market team together.
Farm and making sure the food
it's like last step QC.
And goes where it needs to go on time.
Yeah.
In great condition. Yeah, it's an important job.
What else?
Did you say field leader?
Oh, field leader. Yeah, field leader, although we might be kind of staffed up there. We're getting pretty close. Field leaders are the day-to-day kind of crew supervisors who are leading harvest teams and on call to answer questions about, should I be taking from this round of lettuce or the lettuce next door? What do you think?
Yes, so that all 21 people on the crew aren't asking you directly.
Exactly. Yeah, they're the middlemen, middle women. I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, everything's up though that is on our website.
Okay. So what are you noticing from this hiring round? Are you noticing there's more applicants or a different type of applicant pool? Also, like for those folks listening, like people are like, well, like who is becoming a farmer these days? What is the scene like?
So
and why
many
does
different
any
people.
of this matter?
Yeah, there's really interesting people who are coming from different angles. There's someone who applied to the apprenticeship program who worked in a marketing company who did an event here over the summer and was so taken with what we're doing here that he was like, I need to apply. I want to do that. He grew up around farmland, but around monocropping, and had never seen a mixed organic vegetable production system like this, and was like, how do I do that? And then we have some people who are coming to the apprenticeship who are like, I'm just out of college. Every summer I worked at a farm. This is my first chance to do a full season. And we had some folks like that in our group this year who were like, this is my time to finally do a full season. And so there's people with that level of experience, and then people who have worked in food systems and have worked at, garden to table restaurants and are like, I want to understand even deeper what it takes to produce food. And so we have a really interesting cohort shaping up with a lot of different experience. Someone is fresh out of grad school with a master's in soil science and wants to understand how to bridge that gap between scientists and farmers. Like, how do I talk to farmers as a person who comes from a more technical background? And so it's a really cool group so far already.
Well, I'm thrilled that I can see you just kind of, your body language being so excited and in talking about this new group. I think this was so being part of the hiring process has been one of my favorite things in every end of the season, because you're talking to people from all over the country in the early part of their excitement, where they're maybe a little self-conscious about starting something entirely new, but you can really strip away that self-consciousness and say, well, if you want to start your own farm, what might it be like, and what are you imagining for your career in agriculture? And I think in those interviews, some of these people who are recently graduated students or have grad degrees in other areas, or are completely doing a career change, maybe haven't had the courage to tell someone outside of that interview, here's how I want to change my career, and here's what I have in mind for themselves. And it's so fun to hear how they're kind of overflowing with this excitement of what could be, because it reminds me a lot of how we felt in the beginning when we were starting Amber Waves. So the other thing, not only about interviewing new apprentices, is that when you're checking references for people who've had other farm jobs, it's kind of your sneak peek into talking to farms in Southern California and in Minnesota and in Florida and everywhere else of, okay, how was your experience with this person? Okay, thank you so much. Additionally,
any disease issues this year? What was it like out there?
Yeah, what's your labor pressure? How are you feeling about ice? Like, what are all these other things? And so it feels like a litmus test of what's going on around the country. I mean, another way to get that is from going to conferences. I've been traveling like the last month, going to conferences and visiting a couple other farms, and that's the other way to learn. But those phone calls they're so interesting. And you just can get some anecdotal details about what other farmers are going through, and I love that part of it too.
I was actually talking to Julia, who is in town for a little bit, who used to work here as an advanced crew member. She did 2 seasons here and is a beloved alumni of Amber Waves. And she was talking about how she's now applying to some other farms for this upcoming season, and she's applied to 3 farms, one in California, one in Utah, one in Oregon. Every single farm she applied to knew about Amber Waves.
Oh, that's fun to know.
And for different reasons. Like, I know about Amber Waves because of the apprenticeship program, or, oh my gosh, I follow them. I'm really interested in what their model is, and I know about them because they grow grain on the east end of Long Island, And Julia was like, every single one of them knew about Amber. And they're on the other side of the country.
Julia had such a fun connection this summer because she sent me a text message and said, I'm sitting around a campfire, I'm with friends of friends, and I just met this guy, and his name escapes me right now. And this guy that she met is a trainee of my brother, who's a river raft guide, and who had been trained by my brother in whitewater rafting. My brother's lived so many places, in California, Oregon, Washington, I'm not sure which state. And it was like these two trainees of Steve and Amanda Merrow were like at the same campfire, like on the Snake River in Idaho. And I was like, wow, it just is a pretty small world.
It is. It's a small world. Like everyone kind of knows each other on some level.
And your role here, you've had every year you've worked here, you've had a slightly different role. Yeah. It's pretty exciting because coming into season 5, guess what? You don't have a different role.
I'm going to do the same thing again.
You're going to do it again.
And get better at it.
Right, and get better at it. So what has it been like to start as a 30-year-old apprentice with no farming knowledge, but a love of food, and now coming into your 5th season in 2026, to oversee a crew of 22 people and a fleet of 12 tractors and 30 implements across 45 acres. Sorry.
Okay, you're stressing me out.
And stress. At 380 CSA members and a demanding kitchen team and summertime, and summertime business in one of the busiest vacation communities in the world. Go.
So it's awesome. It's what I would say. I mean, my apprentice year, I just said this actually in an interview with someone, that my apprentice year was like the most relief I've felt in a long time, because I got to come here and I was told where to go and what to do. And I had been like muscling my way through my life. Am I making the right choices? And the choice to come here was so easy. Everything about it was easy. I didn't outsource it to anyone. I just applied. I talked to Amanda. I talked to Isabel, and I felt so clearly, yes. So I just did it. And when I got here, everything about it was easy. Like, I went to my house and it was there and it was easy. And, Hannah was like, here's this thing you should be thinking about as it relates to plant propagation. I was like, okay, she's telling me this is what I should think about and this is what I should pay attention to. Like, this is awesome. This is easy, this is great. And then my second season, you kind of have to change your paradigm, because my second season I was leading other people for the first time. And so,
because that's how we move people up here.
Yeah.
Is that the second season you have to,
and you realize in the exercise of explaining something, I know so much more than I thought I knew. And so my second season was this big shift of, okay, now I'm not purely in the passenger seat. I'm actually kind of driving this crew somewhere, and what are we doing and how do I explain it to these people who have different ways they like to be explained things. And that taught me a lot about leading teams. And then my third season, with Isabel's departure to start her own farm, there was a huge level up into, not only am I leading people, I'm also in charge of making sure the plants are going okay. Like, the farming part is going okay. Our ground is prepped in time, our beds are laid in time, we're transplanting in time. Then there's the weather that's like completely unreliable, and that's a thing to work around, and equipment is unreliable, and everything felt at, my third season, I realized the depth of what it takes to manage an operation of this scale, and there's a million different things that are big and small. And then this season, I feel like I built on that a little bit, and now that I've gone through a season and have managed a season through every step, I think this season I was a lot more focused on culture building and what does it look like not only to farm sustainably, but to have people do this work sustainably for themselves, for their bodies and for their minds, and how do we take care of each other? And a large part of that is because of Danielle. Like, Danielle has been pounding that drum since my first season. And, it's a testament to that group of managers that we've all kind of pushed each other to be more critical in our thinking about, like, do we have to be suffering this much on the long days? Like, how can we make things a little easier, a little more comfortable for everybody, And I think this season was a really good learning exercise in that, of like, Sophia is having wrist pain. Like, how do we change the day plan so she doesn't have to push through it? And like, where can we move her around so that her week is she's not in pain, just to get lettuce harvested. It's not like, how do we take care of our people in that way? And so, next season, I don't know, maybe I'll learn a lot about small engine maintenance or something.
Something that you said made me think of, as you're learning about these people who are about to take a major risk in either a career shift or they're taking a chance. Yeah. They're tapping into something that they feel inside of them is worth it to make such a shift or such a change, or move to the end of an island out in the middle of the ocean and farm with people they don't know. And it is a major commitment that we expect somebody to stay an entire season. And you've described what it's like to be in the nitty gritty, even just a lunch scene. You are in it. You're crawling miles together. You're sharing tears and stories. And it is I think, an important reminder for folks who have either chosen to do that, make a career shift, or they're tapping into something that's inside of them that they want to realize, or at least just see if it's something that's appealing. Can you talk about that with you? Because I think there is something in risk taking. I know this with, anyone who's done anything great is taking a risk to push their own limits or push the limits around them or think bigger. But the reason that we operate as a 501c3 is because we want to teach new farmers, train new farmers about how to grow food sustainably, regeneratively, organically, and to teach kids about where their food's coming from. So we're trying to tackle this food systems, growth, knowledge, and operation from a couple different angles. What is it about taking a risk by entering the food system right now at this time? There's 20 and 30 somethings that feel compelled to do this. So what was that for you, that shift, and what are you hearing and what are you noticing right now in this time? Is it climate change? I feel compelled to do something. Yeah. What is this call to action where people are making a change?
It's a lot of climate anxiety, and this is a very productive way to channel that anxiety instead of sitting at home thinking about recycling and like, how do I not drive as much? It's like, I'm here, I'm growing food for people. So there's a lot of that I'm hearing from people. I think there's also a lot of, on another kind of wavelength, like a spiritual yearning for a life that has more purpose. And that was a big driver for me. And, certainly I was really interested in food systems and really interested in having a career that felt not only not actively harmful to the environment, but actually helpful in some ways. And sitting at a computer all day, it's hard to feel like you're being of service. And so I think I was looking to be of service, whether it's to my community, to the planet that we inhabit, or to a bigger purpose of like, I want to help bring more women into this work and like elevate them and launch them into wherever they want to be. And yeah, I think like the sneaky thing that I got out of farming is purpose, and like that shared purpose that you have with the people who are doing this work that is so hard to find. You don't find that in like an advertising job in the same way, or in other jobs. You don't have this, no one would farm for profit. No one would farm if they didn't love it. It's really hard, and
right.
It's not.
There is a better way to make a buck.
There's a much better way to make a buck than slogging it out here every day on end. And so, being in a group of people, in a community of people who are all tapped into that same wavelength for different reasons, is like such a cool thing that I didn't really expect to come out of farming. I was excited to grow food, and what I got was just this like spiritual awakening in so many ways that is ongoing and changes every year, that my role changes in the greater scheme.
I want to talk about your role, but I want to backtrack for a minute, because you talked about climate anxiety and growing food and why that's doing something. But for anyone who's listening who's like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Can we like talk a little bit about what we mean?
Yeah, we can talk about what we mean. Well, I mean, I guess what I mean from that is we are growing food and we are using land in a way that is regenerative to the land. We're not trying to be purely extractive with what we're doing. We're trying to add organic matter. We're trying to strengthen the soil biology in our farmland. We're trying to rest fields where we can. We're making intentional efforts to seed living mulches in our aisles and like have more of our farm cover cropped and more active. And there's that element. And then there's also the element of, growing food for people feels like it's a productive thing to do.
And yes, food that has fewer miles on it. Yeah, that's distributed locally.
Yeah.
So all of the tools and tactics that you just listed are all carbon sequestration techniques. So that's really, that's
what we're talking about.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about carbon sequestration. I just wanted to put a finer point on it because I think that as, well, certainly now, I think for myself and my own place in my agricultural career, the day-to-day logistics and nitty-gritty, which you are so great at handling, enables me in my position to like think a little bit more wholly about regenerative agriculture and how Amber Waves would like to position itself, how we want to position ourselves as a part of regenerative farms in our region, across the country, and what it will take for farms of about our scale and scope, but also smaller and larger than us, to have the network and tools and equipment and workforce to actually work in this industry that as you said, that invests in resource conservation, carbon sequestration that's not wholly extractive. And what does it take? How do we need to zoom out and look at that as a whole movement? And it's certainly like a think globally and act locally sort of that's kind of the play and the plan. But having the pipeline that we have here at Amber Waves and having people like you in these positions where you're managing all the operations will enable us in the next decade and more to participate in this larger conversation, which is one of the things I'm the most excited about our work here.
Yeah, and beyond participating in the conversation and even starting the conversation of how regenerative agriculture can be climate smart and provide climate solutions, yes, but then coming up with actionable programs like training new farmers in these growing techniques so that we can have a workforce who is ready to do this for the next several...
Within models that are then financially viable. And that's something that we talk a lot about as, in providing careers for people who are here on our team, but also for people who fly away and plant themselves someplace else, how they can have long-term viable careers where they're also based in essentially, inventing and creating their own economy, hiring people, training new farmers themselves, addressing issues of food insecurity. How do we seed that all over the place in a viable model? So there's plenty of work to do.
There's so much work to do, but we can do it.